Welcome back. Thank you once again for hanging out with us. This is the IT and the D Show. I'm your host, Bob Waltonspiel, hanging out with co-host, producer extraordinaire, Randy Walker. Guest this week, see how many times I can say this, Tom Lawrence with Lawrence Syste slash CNWR. I'll get it right one of these days. I just learned about it 5 minutes ago, but we got lots to talk about. Tom is a phenomenal YouTuber, has a fantastic channel, also is a cybersecurity enthusiast and all around great guy. And these are always great talks. Tom's been a regular guest in the past. You can find us online, itandthed.com. Do us a favor, give us a like on the socials, subscribe everywhere fine podcasts are sold. Don't forget, go to meetup.com/itandthed. Next 3 events are going to be at Nancy Whiskey down in Corktown,
including tonight, July 20th.
July 20th, indeed. I did have a fantastic dinner at Alpino. I don't know how it's pronounced. Absolutely one of the best meals I've had in this town. Highly recommended. Good. Down the street from Nancy Whiskey. So yeah, I did not, here's the thing, man, when it's kind of like being raised by Italian grandparents and then going to eat Italian, it's not like grandma's. And the Wiener Schnitzel and the Spätzle was just like grandma's. So I was a fat, happy German kid Friday night. Tom, how they treating you, man? You doing okay?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a minute since I've been on, I think. So it's always good to be back.
It has been a minute. See, that's the beauty of your show versus ours. Your show is just you. And you don't
I'm on my show all the time.
You don't get last minute cancellations all the time like we've been getting.
Yeah, well, even if I do, because sometimes I have guests on, and I've got one that's ghosted me twice, and I don't know why, and I know the aggravation because I was just thinking, boy, I'm like Bob now. I just got ghosted by someone a couple times.
Seriously, but, it's a lot.
Yeah, you get aggravated. Like, I'm sitting here waiting. How long do I wait? How long do I give you before I just get really angry? Because they didn't tell me they weren't showing up.
So I'm just checking out by the way, your YouTube channel is still stinking growing. I think we were cheering you when it hit 30,000. Then we were cheering you when it hit 50,000. And the big deal was when you hit 250. That's kind of when you get the plaque.
Yep.
You're at 290.
Yeah, that's when he was last on the show here, was when he hit 250.
And now you're at 294.
294.
And you have 2 videos that hit 1 million views.
Yeah. It's funny because I thought I'd be further, because you watch the acceleration, it tapering off a little bit because I kind of slowed down with what I was posting, but I'm still shocked that there's that many people, because it's not just the subscribers. There's 54 million views on the channel. And it's like, that many people want to listen to me babble about cybersecurity and firewalls and storage servers and virtualization. Okay.
Well, I always thought you found a niche, right? A lot of people standardized on your basic products that everyone used all the time. The Arubas, the Fortinets, the Microsoft licenses. There's, those companies put out billions of videos, but you kind of found a niche, I think, with the open source products that don't have those gigunda budgets, that don't really can ship out free products to influencers. I refuse to call you that. But at the end of the day, that you're kind of you're opening the toy boxes, but for geek stuff.
Yeah, and it's been really interesting. So, like the storage servers, especially, because I had a great conversation, but it's kind of on hold all of a sudden. You'll understand the context in a second. We've sold a lot of storage to movie studios, which I talked to them. Their latest project is a little on hold with the writer's strike. They said just a little. They're trying to figure out how that play is going to look, because they just built 2 new studios. Because they finished them, and now the project part where we install the infrastructure is supposed to kick off, and they're kind of like, we want to put a pause on this. And I'm like, I don't blame you. I'm not going to argue with you. So we understand why we're pausing on some of it. But that niche of building stuff that, hey, Dell EMC, they sell a solid storage server. NetApp, you got all the companies that sell that stuff. But Hollywood produces movie companies in general. They produce data at a rate that's pretty freaking incredible. The amount of storage you need to store on these fancy cameras. The cameras keep leveling up, and each level up, when you go from like your 1080 to your 4K to your 8K cameras, is not just like a little incremental. It's a substantial a really substantially larger file each time. And so the amount of storage they need and trying to fit that and squish that into the right budgets has been challenging. And that's kind of one of our niches we fell into with some of the open source software. And it's really, I didn't know this until we started working with them. 45 Drives is one of the companies we work with. The entirety of Trailer Park Boys is all built and stored on 45 Drive servers.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was just great. They have a whole, if you look at 45 Drive's Trailer Park Boys, there's an entire case study about them, and they have every joke in there, which completely makes sense. It's not rocket appliance and all. They have all the little stuff that's in their code, and I thought that was funny. They had comments on. Then I kind of connected all the dots and like, oh, that's why, because they built the original servers for that. So a couple of the movie studios have as much as 12, 13 petabytes of storage. It's a lot of data these guys have to hold on to.
Well, and then hot storage in the cloud is super expensive. Cold storage is super cheap. So it's where do you find that medium? Yeah. So I don't blame them for going that route. So now here's the thing that you hit the nail on the head of, and there was a shift in me being a lifetime IT sales person. We started off cold calling, and we started off cold emailing, and we started off, and then social media came out, and then we were doing different things, but like. You hit the nail on the head because sales has completely evolved and changed. And I'd say about 7, 8, or 8, maybe a little bit longer, but it was like educate your customers, educate your customers, educate your customers. That, it's all about relationships, but, educate first because they're, customers are smart. And you kind of hit that nail on the head where you're like, let them do their homework because they're going to anyway. It doesn't really matter if I go cold calling because they're going to, need a little validation. So I'm going to do all the education up front, and lo and behold, you didn't, you started picking up the phone after a while. Talk to me about that journey.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm happy to have smart people that I hang out with that tell me how to do things better. And so I'm dumping all this data out there and creating these tutorials and things like that. And slowly it just starts trickling in where people start calling me. And of course, there's like smart people who know how sales work. And, hey, Tom, what's your call to action on your YouTube videos? I'm like, I don't know. I just make videos. Like, you could probably suggest that someone could hire you. You put a little hire us, they could like a little lower thirds. And I'm like, I could probably do that. And that exploded. Like I was already getting the calls by actually suggesting that they could hire us. I serendipitously kind of fell into some of this. So I slowly just kind of worked it and started learning it. 2017 is when I built the studio, and I said, okay, this is when I'm going to get serious about doing it. 2018 is when I put a call to action of, you can actually hire me for this. I'm a business, not just some random person on YouTube making content, which a lot of people just assumed I was. And they would put in the comments, oh, this is great. Can I hire you? I'm like, well, I have a website, and I just reply with my website. But maturing it into kind of a workflow, which I didn't shorten the videos any. Like, I'm still giving. There's always that people say, well, did you cut it up where you don't give all of the content? I'm like, no, it's a start to finish, top to bottom tutorial. There's nothing left out. You don't, if
follow
you can
me
follow
for part 2.
Yeah, hire me for the rest of the details. Yeah. I made sure all that was in there, and it kind of just matured into the process that it is now, where I still do tutorials. We got just a quick blurb that says hire us. I don't spend all day, reading some just 4 minutes of ads of why you should hire me and why I'm awesome. It's like, hey, if you like what you've seen here, reach out to me. And I say it usually towards the end of the video anyways, at the end, like, subscribe, love me on the socials, hire us if you want to know more, connect with me on my forums. And it just kind of worked its way into that. And so we kind of joked and mentioned a merger at the beginning, but I had to do a lot of data analytics and look backs because people want, before the merge companies, they want this little thing called due diligence, lawyers and all those fun things. Like,
right.
Yeah. I got to justify all the money I'm giving you. So I had to put together all the stats for just how many leads we bring in. And then, of course, it's not just the leads. Let's talk about the action, the conversions, the actual people who put money in our hands from this. And in the last just 360 days, I think I look back, it was over 600 bookings that we booked from YouTube. And that was across 400 different businesses that had contacted us. Some of them were multiple bookings from one business. So it's definitely turned into kind of a wild adventure. That's what actually led me to the merger. I'm not a good steward of running a business as it got bigger. It turns out. So, but my friend's company had more structure. So we came to an idea going, hey, Tom, if you just make more videos and I handle all the leads and process, we could do this together. And that's where I'm at today.
So once in a while, I'll always go through because like getting hate comments and hate mail is always such a thing. Anything you put on my daughter wanted to put out little cartoons. And I said, you're going to get someone that's going to say it's trash and don't cry and delete it. Just got to run with it. But I go through your comments and like, there's nothing bad. Like you're nasally, you're a douchebag. You know what I mean? Like the typical stuff that people that put content out get. Is it just that you're genuine? Because I mean, you always come across very, very genuine and a human being, and not like snake oily, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. There's still occasionally we have a group of other YouTube friends, and we have a little section in our Discord chat called Today in Comments.
Right.
It's not too much hate that I get. It's more someone's going to call the FBI on me. I have an old comment it's an old video, but a recent comment. Someone says, "I'm calling the FBI on you because you're teaching people how to hack my Wi-Fi. My neighbor's probably following your video to hack me." I'm just like, no, they're not. I talked about how to protect against it, but of course I had to talk about how to do it. Right. So someone says I shouldn't, but overall, I'm going to say the comments are 99.9% positive. I have to dig for a bad one, which makes me really happy. And when I go to like events and things like that in the tech space, and I run into people I know, I'm pretty happy. One of my favorite compliments is, you're just like your videos. And I'm like, cool.
The best
like,
thing you could ever said to me.
Yeah, I don't turn it. I'm actually probably a little bit calmer in my videos because I'm like concisely telling you how to do something, and I'm a little more animated in person, but still I'm not being disgenuine in any way, or the hype tubers, I call them, who you got to get super excited right now, rah, rah, rah. And I'm more methodical because I'm telling you how to set up a firewall, or how to step by step set up this Docker container. So I'm being very methodical in a tutorial style, but other than that, I'm still the same person. I'm a little bit more lively probably in my live stream, especially last one. I did get a couple messages to friends. How drunk were you when you started your live stream? I'm like, I started drinking on the plane.
Right.
Like,
one of the things that, not that I don't like about YouTube, is but the fact that it's so formulaic. Now is 'tis the season. I'm watching tons of fantasy football videos. I know, I'm an idiot, and they all have this like ADD, Adderall, very fast cutting cameras.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you the three running backs you need to pick up. And it's just like, boom, and it's like, is it from trial and error figuring out what YouTube likes, or what? Because I know there's a whole secret sauce, and when you think you got it figured out, they change it. So it's like, how do you stay on top of that?
So it's really interesting, and Vid Summit's coming up, and they teach a lot of this. So there's a lot of different tutorials and training camps, if you will, just like there is for any industry. And YouTube's probably a little bit more eccentric on how they do it, because how these videos and the style that you do and how you create what they refer to as like the visual interrupt, swap camera here, bounce this face. They're really pushing that right now. So of course, whatever the latest trend is, and it's always whoever the biggest YouTubers are what drives why you should do it. And I kind of ignore at least a large portion of it because I know my audience is different. So I have other friends that work cybersecurity, and some of them have followed that pattern. They hired an editor who follows like, hey, this is how Mr. Beast, no scene locks on in Mr. Beast for more than so many seconds. Like people sit down and reverse engineer that video, and then go, all right, that's what you do. You need to change scenes every 2 seconds. I'm like, no. My son watches videos like that at 16. My grandkids, is a couple of young ones, like they like the TikTok stuff where it's even jumpier. And I'm like, no, that's not my style. But my friend in cybersecurity, he's got a trending audience in his 16 to 20s. And even I watch his content. I'm like, you have just so many visual interrupts like bouncing around. I feel like I'm trying to blink and catch up with it. I think there's still a good audience for people who want to do long form, listen, be concise, be more in depth on something. And you don't need to just visually interrupt me to try to keep my attention, because the in-depth content is the attention grabber. So I don't do that as much. And that's kind of why, but definitely the industry pushes towards it. And if you're just your goal isn't conversion to client. Like I kind of have a goal in the back of my mind of that. I know I just did a permissions video on how to set up ZFS permissions. that's not going to be a trending on YouTube top topic. But that immediately, even though it has like 8,000 views, it's just very methodically goes through it. My conversion is, hey, maybe someone wants to hire me to do more of this work on those type of storage servers and set up the permissions or solve some type of problem they're having with it. I'm not trying to get the highest view count. So if you're optimizing for the highest view count, get those jumpiness ready, because that's what the kids under 20 are expected today on YouTube.
See, there's the two things. It's the jumpy thing. And then have you ever seen the V-Shred guy? Do you know who I'm talking about? Randy's nodding. Yeah. So basically what he says is, I'm going to give you the 3 things for you to get cut and shredded. Right. Oh. And then I actually sat and listened to this thing, and he goes, but before I do, and the way humans were architected, and he'll go on, it's masterful how he talks about nothing and repeats himself, and you're not angry enough to back click out. I know I've back clicked out a couple of times, but this time I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen to it. I swear to God, it took him 20 minutes to finally get to the end. And by the time he got to the end, it was like, oh, that's it. That's the payoff. It's like a M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like that's the crappy ending that you promised me. But apparently it works. Dude's making like $10 million a month. You know what I mean? It's like, again, stuff that blows my mind that I don't understand why it works, but apparently somebody hit a nerve somewhere.
Yeah, it's one of those things that can kind of drive me nuts. Someone grabbed me in a Twitter thread about YouTubers making the dumbest faces ever, and I said, "Look, I have to participate. I've done that. There's some automated tools I use to do A/B testing, and every now and then I put one without my face and one with me making a face. I'm sorry, as long as all of you keep clicking on that one, the click-through rate is always higher. I have to do it. I don't want to look at the camera. I don't want to pull my green screen up and mess with it. I'd rather just put a stupid title on it that says the thing I'm doing and done. But you guys won't click on it, so that's why I make stupid faces.
I don't know what got that either. I watch all the Call of Duty guys like Nick Merckx and Stone Mountain, and they all have the same thumbnail, and it's them with some surprised look on their face, and they go, "Oh my God, this gun killed 32 people," and I go, "Oh my God, I have to click it." Yeah.
You got to make it. I never do clickbait. I do click interesting, so I will title things carefully. I've actually switched to, I think about a few months back, I started using ChatGPT to write all my titles now. So I won't lie, that works really well. You just say, give me 3 YouTube titles about this topic, and that's how I pick whichever one of the 3 I like.
I want to talk about that in a minute, but I want to, before you brought up Twitter, and the world was abuzz for about 16 hours about Threads. And I feel like it went the way of Google Plus, and it was
just
deflated. It's gone like a bad, like a submarine meme. Obviously, if you had Instagram, we all signed up for it. Is it basically Google Plus at this point, or is it, you think it's got legs?
I think Zuckerberg is really smart about that stuff. He can play the long game on it. He can just keep waiting for Mr. I cut my revenue in half and destroyed all the advertising revenue to screw up more. And so far, our track record doesn't really make me think he's going to get substantially better at it. The ads on Twitter have become horrible, which obviously is because lots of big companies just kind of pulled ads, which he tweeted the other day where our ad revenue is really low. So it's kind of playing a game of, can we do it? The problem is Zuckerberg himself, though. Are you going to do anything to actually improve on it? No, you're just going to do the political thing. Hey, I'm not the other guy. That's his shtick. Like, it's the same thing. So I'm not overly impressed with it. They failed to innovate at all. They're just hoping on if he screws up enough. But I mean, I didn't even actually sign up on Threads yet. I was kind of holding off on it. I seen the noise, and I'm like, I have a big following on Twitter, and I just keep posting.
I just had to own my name. That was my whole thing. Just block it out.
I think people were initially excited to check it out and see what it is. It does have some very MVP qualities, minimum viable product. I think once they get a personalized feed for just who you're following and not just a fire hose of everybody on the app, engagement will go up again a little. But sometimes it's overwhelming seeing everything.
I never liked Twitter at all in the first place. It's well documented, my disdain for it. Not that it was disdain, it was just hard to follow. And I didn't think it was necessary for me to post on Twitter. Unless I was Dr. Pepper, there's really no point in doing, I wasn't trying to pull an audience. You know what I mean? I was speaking on the podcast, and my friends were all on Facebook. I was speaking on a podcast. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, that's the way, I don't know. That's just the way I felt about it.
I gotta admit, like what I use Twitter for and what I've used Twitter for years and where my niche is in Twitter, is engaging with cybersecurity professionals. That's the people I follow. That's the people I engage with. And we've actually found it incredibly helpful from a tactical standpoint, where when I'm working on cybersecurity incidents, we've actually been, worked on some that are like very breaking, so to speak, for something going on. And I can reach out and ping some of those people. And that's the easiest way to get a hold of some of them. We had an attack, and you're familiar with like ConnectWise. I was able to ping one of the security guys at ConnectWise and get something shut down that was going on their servers very quickly. And that's the fastest way they responded. I mean, they have some stupid form I could fill out on their website. I guarantee it wouldn't have been as fast as that message I sent.
Tom,
So
I've noticed a lot of tech people I follow have abandoned Twitter and moved to Mastodon. Have you seen the same in your circles? And are you over there?
I'm over there, but Mastodon, they are too serious. They're like putting a suit on. Like for being the big free open source one, there's just no good memes on Mastodon, and they don't get any attraction. I'm not in trouble for it, but I definitely engaged in some shenanigans with Fortinet, and one of their engineers took the bait. It's blew up on LinkedIn for me posting memes, too many memes about Fortinet. So like, and other security engineers are engaging with it. It's like that shenanigans, which is stupid, silly, us making fun of something dumb about a security vulnerability, that goes on Twitter in a very happy way. Man, that gets no traction on Mastodon. Like I've had serious conversations and I've had good talks with people on Mastodon, but it's like Twitter without the fun. so it's
LinkedIn.
Yeah. LinkedIn's kind of like that. Sometimes I can get people riled up a little bit on LinkedIn.
You were good about like posting like the here's the thing, like I always get angry I follow Barstool Sports, whatever, make fun of me. And if they do something that's non-sports, someone always goes, well, I think the Jets need to improve on their third down efficiency if they want to make the Super Bowl this year, or something stupid like bring it back to sports. And I'm like, are you telling me that when you sit at a Barstool and watch a baseball game, for example, you're not talking about food and the last date you went on, and you know what I mean? Like modern or politics or news topics. We'll talk about everything. So I think like LinkedIn's the same way. When I'm at work, am I talking about work all day? No, we're talking, we're laughing, we're sharing stories, talking about the weekend. So I'm like, I never understood why LinkedIn was so buttoned up on in terms of like making jokes on their social.
Yeah, it's funny because I've kind of broke the mold a little bit, and by the memes I post on there, one of them's got like 80,000 views now from the other day. So I've been posting them there more. I could post on Facebook less because I don't know. Facebook's just where my puns go. If I have a bunch of stupid puns, which sometimes Bob groans and comments on.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine. So let's kind of go there. I've gotten a little bit, as long as they're like kind of tech related, I really try to stay on my socials outside of my Facebook's my personal stuff, but like the Twitter and the LinkedIn are very deeply me talking about usually cybersecurity or cybersecurity adjacent topics. But I've developed that niche following in both those places for those. So if I'm off topic or even posting about business, it gets like a like, and then I'll have 80,000 on another meme I posted making fun of some company's security flaw.
I just shared this one when Weird Al tweeted, like, I keep telling him I am human because it's a Grammys exclude AI from winning awards. Well, it looks like Al if you're reading it, from winning awards. And I go, and he's like, I thought that was hilarious, so I had to share it. Yeah. Especially since 90% of my work these days involves a Gen AI workshop or a demo. You brought up ChatGPT, you brought up Gen AI. The lists of use cases is starting to grow, and everyone wants a meeting on it and talks about it. And I feel like it's like cloud, like everyone's saying cloud, then everyone said digital transformation, and you could book a meeting just saying we're digital transformation, consultancy. And now I feel like Gen AI, like everyone has their flavor, and they're just as fast as they can go to market. What are you seeing?
So oddly Wednesday, I'm doing a small business talk on this topic. So I just really dove into some of the tools because I don't use a lot of them. And when I did, I realized they all suck. So, but in some of them are like, people got funded to build this. This isn't even good. But,
right.
I think there's still, we're probably in that peak hype something will come out of it. There's still actually, I would say there's plenty of somethings coming out of it. There's still a lot of neat things we can do with it. I'm amazed at its ability to write legal documents or even read legal documents. It does a lot of that stuff pretty well.
Have you seen the lawsuits that are going on? Like they're pulled a copyright story and then it's using it to populate. And it's like, good luck governing that, baby. Like, good luck.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck.
And it's a mess. And of course, there's that lawyer who's in a lot of trouble because he had it generate some cases. And he said, hey, find cases related to this, like your case background that you'd need to present why this case is relevant because of these rulings. And I guess it generated the correct answer several times, like for referencing cases. And then it completely had another case in there with all the right reference and notations, but it was completely made up by ChatGPT. So they don't know how to solve what they just have collectively called it hallucinating. It occasionally gives you really off the wall, but very confident wrong answers that are well laid out. I mean, so that's a problem that kind of makes it not the best source of facts.
No, I think it's a fantastic. What if someone built that in? I want to shake their hand, dude. I don't want it to be the governing truth, and I don't want kids using it for term paper. I want, it's the, society's dumbed down, in my opinion, enough to again, gone are the days of actual fact checking, and now I would just want people to do my, I don't know. I'm glad that it's not perfect. I really am.
Yeah, you can't just trust for anything. My fun use cases for it are you can tell it to write poems and limericks, and you can just like give it a few words. Like I want something that rhymes with Waltonspiel. I want it written in iambic pentameter, and give me 2 paragraphs on it. It'll just write it. It's silly stuff like that I think it's absolutely wonderful for.
Hold on. Here we go. We might need to. No, we're good. I didn't realize it was like an 18-step to sign into ChatGPT. I was gonna come up with content. What do you want? A poem about Randy?
A poem about Randy. There we go. And you got to give it a few words.
About Randy.
Randy's birthday's coming up, so we got to do a poem about Randy's birthday and being on a podcast.
Oh my God, I got to sign in again. What in the world? Randy's gonna have to tell you. I just made him edit.
I see just Randy smiling, going, "This is going to be stupid and funny."
Oh, it's going to be absolutely hilarious. Oh my God, it's not working for me. Oh, here we go. All right, new chat.
I'll let Bob type all that up.
All right, write a poem about Randy Walker's 40th birthday party at Toco. How do you spell it? Tocororo? Roro? In Detroit. All right. In Detroit, vibrant heart, a celebration did ignite. Oh my God, it's going too fast. Hold on. Oh my God, it's insane. Hold on. I didn't tell it how long of a poem. Oh,
so it's
stop generating. There we go. Oh my God, I'm not reading all of it. In Detroit's vibrant heart, a celebration did ignite. Randy Walker's 40th birthday, shining ever so bright amidst the city's rhythm where dreams intertwined. Tocororo awaited, a venue so defined. I'm going to send this to you. I'm just going to cut and paste it. We'll put it in the chat. We'll put it in the chat notes. But see, actually, that's kind of awesome. What I did is I said, write the greatest movie ever, and it wouldn't do it for me. So, like, talk about being a lazy ass. I just was like, write the greatest movie ever. It's like, nah, not going to do it for you. Go.
I think there's going to be some more variations where when you can start defining better parameters on it to sandbox it into doing something like, hey, here's a book that came out, for example, maybe you read the book, but you want to have a better understanding of the book. So you say, hey, ChatGPT, pretend you're this character from the book and let me ask you questions. Like that's kind of a cool thing it can do. It's got that ability now. If it already knows the book, you can say, pretend you're this character from a book. And then you can just start asking questions about it.
Here's the thing though. I don't want because I have kids, I'm worried about my kids. Like read, whatever tonight. Or read, you got a week, and then just go to ChatGPT and go, give me I guess you can Google it anyway.
Yeah.
But give me a quick synopsis of this book. It's kind of like, it's like me, tell me about The Great Gatsby. It was great. This changes everything. And I'm not just being facetious or like funny or silly or alarmist. It literally changes everything. You don't know who you're talking to anymore. You don't know if news articles have been written by a human anymore. Like I heard something, I forget who was talking about it. They're like, deep fakes are going to be more prevalent than like actual content. Like,
yeah,
in about 5 years or so, the content's going to overtake what you actually said.
Yeah, there's that one. It's called like AI synesthesia. It's got a weird name, but you just type in words and it generates. It doesn't look as good. It's definitely, like you said, a few years away. But it's interesting how from a small perspective look at it, I can say like, hey, impersonate me, do this. Here's the text I want you to do, and you can just generate the text you want it to say. And it's just kind of interesting that they're working on it. Of course, if you've used I love the Bing one the best because it's relatively fast, but the Bing AI image generator, it's free. That one's fun to play with. But it also shows you, like we were making a bunch of red pandas. I don't know why, but red pandas are just cool looking, and DALL-E does a great job of them. So we put them in sombreros, eating tacos, and it does like an amazing job. But then I said, make a family standing in front of a bank. And this is actually something I put in my slideshow. It's nightmare fuel. Like their hands are, I said holding hands. I purposely said that. And it's like all their hands are their faces are like twisted. And it's like someone on drugs made it.
Hey, Tom,
These
you know who
AI
I am?
image
Just tell me about me. Oh, go ahead, Randy. Sorry.
I was gonna say these AI image generators are so bad with hands and fingers.
Yes.
It's creepy. It's
eating too.
very
What do they do? Eating pizza. It was. I am an entrepreneur, innovator, and influential figure known for his contributions in the business and technology sectors. What the hell they came up with that? I have no idea.
If only they said you were a thought leader, I would have been so happy.
Do you want to tell me, Bob, about your technology startup that revolutionized the way people interact on social media?
Where's that? I don't see it.
I asked
online.
it for a bio of you, and that's what it came up with.
What did it say?
Yeah, co-founded a technology startup that revolutionized the way people interacted with social media, earning him recognition as a visionary in the tech industry.
See, they make it's that's what did you call it, Tom? The fake stuff.
Hallucinating.
It's hallucinating.
Yeah, it's got a long. It is everyone gets overhyped. Like it's going to kill us. It's going to decide we don't need to exist. You know, I'm like, look, Terminator was a great movie, but it's not reality, buddy.
The new one looks better. Did you see it?
I didn't see the preview for it. No.
Where the AI, they built AIs and it's like 10 years in the future, and they dropped a nuke on LA, and it's like they made the robot like to look like an 8-year-old girl. So like you wouldn't just go and destroy it. Well, then they tried to use it to like be on the same team as us. The preview looks fantastic. I don't know what the hell it's called. It's got the guy starring in it from Tenet.
Okay.
It's by the Rogue One director or whatever producer. It looks fantastic.
Nice. No, I think it's a fun to play around with those as an idea, as a thought process. I don't think the reality of it is dire as people think it is.
But Tom, it's only been around for 8 months, technically.
Yeah, ChatGPT has not been around for a long time.
No, and you look at the speed to market. Like this is the one thing. Like everyone talked about data being the next industry. Like this is very much is going to be a part of it.
Yeah. There's some clever things, like one of my slides that I have in there is how it can grab an email that comes in for you. Like if it's a sales email, someone asking you for a quote, and then you can pipe it through ChatGPT where it can read your email and you can say, create 3 drafts for me. And it drops them in the draft folder for you as 3 draft replies I'd have to this person. And then you can pick and tweak the best one. Those are actually really nice use cases. I've actually had some of the sales guys I've trained a lot of my technicians to use it, not only to solve problems, but to also respond to customers who need a wordier response, but technicians are lazy and don't want to type it all. There's not a work instruction to reply. So they'll drop something in ChatGPT real quick, because I pay for the business one. They drop it in there and it gives them like the 2-paragraph step-by-step tutorial for what this user needs to do, and they just paste it in the ticket and send.
There's a plugin I saw for Gmail that was the response. You basically picked out of 5 clicks what the temperature was. Yes, no, neutral, and then it gave like a 2-sentence, like a Twitter 180 character or 140 character response. Yep. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know.
I like it because it saves me the typing, so it's kind of canned response, but it's customized canned response because it's contextually aware of what was sent to you, so it's responding what doesn't look canned because it references things that the person sent, but I can say the sentiment of what I wanted. And that's where I think it's kind of cool. The sentiment is, I want to type no and hit send, but that will make this person unhappy. And I like to do business with them in the future. So I will let you down nicely sorry, I can't support this project that you asked me about, but I'd love to help it if you switched it over to something we can support, blah, 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 and send that email off to them. We send a lot of kind of forms like that where someone has an idea and like, if you change this part of your idea, we can actually help you implement that. So, but I don't have to actually type a lot of words. I can just let it type all the words.
Again, it's going to get to the point where they don't even want to call me or call you. You know what I mean? We're going to do a deep fake of whatever the latest and greatest thing is. And we're just going to use your head and your words. And, we're not going to need actors anymore. That's what the strike's all about, because they're going to deep fake Tom Cruise for Mission Impossible 47. Did you say Raiders of the Last Raiders? It was fantastic. Like the Harrison Ford, like, not to spoiler alert or anything, but like the flashback stuff, it was really good. They've come a far way since the first Luke, and then Leia in Rogue One. I mean, it's come a long way. It was, they still haven't figured out the teeth in what teeth look like while talking.
They'll get there.
But it looked like insanely good.
Yeah. And it's just really impressive. Like, so we work with some of these movie companies and seeing how they reapply things. We actually work with one of them. There's a weird niche they're in. They're redoing all those old Westerns, and they do all this upsampling through the eye. And it's really, one of my staff kind of took an interest in how all that stuff works. And he's been taking old stuff he has and upsampling old movies to really high res. It's shocking that you can build a rig yourself. And of course, if you're in the professional services doing this, it's actually not that expensive to build a really high end one that'll refactor entire movies to a much higher upscaled resolution. It's also kind of interesting they're doing it, and with the writer strike going on, because they're like, guess what we got? We can take that 80s content, and because Knight Rider doesn't look near as good if you watch it without being upsampled. So you gotta apply something to those old 80s, and then we can re-release them on Netflix, and they don't have to pay the writers.
I would watch the hell out of that.
A 4K upsampled Knight Rider and Airwolf, and it's
going to be like the COVID times when they couldn't film here, but other countries could. So you got all those bad movies on Netflix when they dub over they tried to do. Did you see they tried to digitally change the mouths to English, and it looked awful? I mean, I'm talking, I couldn't pay zero attention to the movie. I had to turn it off halfway through because, like, just speak in Polish and then dub it over with some guy that doesn't, that sounds ridiculous. Anyway,
I'm okay reading subtitles on those, because just don't try. Just if it doesn't match, I'll just listen in the native language it was recorded in, and I'll read the subtitles.
There was a what was it called? There was a good German movie that just came out, Something in Gold. Randy, did you watch that? I talked about it. I think I talked to you on the phone about it. Fantastic though. Like those movies are like, we always thought they were kind of crappy, but it was like a World War II based, and they were in this small town trying to find where the gold was hidden or whatever. And it was like a very Tarantino-esque. It's kind of like if you say ChatGPT, make a World War II movie about, like, in the styles of Tarantino, you know what I mean? To find gold or something. It was really good. With that being said, Tom, we'll find you on YouTube. Tom Lawrence Systems. Is it still Lawrence Systems?
Yeah.
You're not hard to find.
No, I'm super easy to find. I'd say everything that way, whatever social media I sign up for next, or whichever one, when you listen to this podcast, exists or doesn't exist, you'll find it on lawrencesystems.com.
There you go. Oh, you got that can like a used car salesman. That's phenomenal. Worse than my intro. No, I'm just kidding. Tom, though, no, I appreciate the time, man. We'll see you in person. We'll see you online. Tom Lawrence, on behalf of Bob and Randy, we're going to wrap things up for this episode of the IT and the D Show. Do us all a favor, drink up your drinks, get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.